Kelly didn't just fall from grace, he ended up in a prison system that, according to his lawyers, is slowly trying to take his life.
Are people who seek to kill Mr. Kelly.
Reports say Kelly was attacked in prison once again, and based on how everything happened, it seems like someone on the inside wants him gone for good.
So they say that Kelly woke up allegedly on June 13th and he felt faint, he was dizzy, he started to see black spots, he got up and he...
Let's break this situation down. The hit squad got exposed, and it all traces back to a man whose time was running out fast. Glenn Stein, a terminal cancer patient and major shot caller for the Aryan Brotherhood, had been locked up since 1982, earning a reputation as one of the most dangerous men in the federal system. Stein was serving time for murder and had a long history of violence, including threatening to attack and kill federal officials back in 2015.
According to documents that R. Kelly's legal team just filed, they are alleging that there is a man, last name Stein, who is a gang leader, a big gang leader, and that he has provided a sworn statement to them that prison officials offered him his freedom to spend his last days free if he would allegedly kill R. Kelly.
Let's break this down. The hit squad gets exposed, but it all started with a man whose clock was already ticking faster than a bodega sandwich. Glenn Stein, a terminally ill cancer patient and the top dog for the Aryan Brotherhood, had been locked up since '82, building a reputation as one of the most dangerous figures in the federal system. Stein's record was notorious: murder convictions, violent outbursts, and even threats against federal officials as recently as 2015.
There was an inmate that came forward before, and that stated that he was hired to kill R. Kelly. I don't know if you heard about that. Yeah. I never believed that stuff.
The February 2023 meeting took a completely different turn. Childress showed up unannounced with Warden Gutierrez and Associate Warden Stangl, no guards in sight, which made the whole thing feel even more suspicious and signaled that something serious was going down. Knowing Stein had a terminal diagnosis and was essentially living on borrowed time, Childress presented what could only be described as a deal from hell. Stein claimed they planned to transfer him to FCI Butner in North Carolina, where R. Kelly was serving his sentence, and his assignment was to take out the disgraced R&B star. In return, Stein said he'd be charged but never actually convicted, because officials would conveniently lose the evidence.
Now, the way that this man says that this was supposed to go down is that he was supposed to kill R. Kelly, allegedly, and then he would get charged for it, and then he alleges that prison officials were going to fumble the evidence and ultimately bury the case. They would then allegedly transfer him to another location where he would be allowed to escape and stay free.
It's just him. It's a few people that when they got these long cases, suddenly they all got plots to murder them and they all want to get out.
According to Stein's sworn statements, the motive was directly tied to R. Kelly's legal moves. Childress allegedly called Kelly a rapist who had harmed young white girls, someone the Aryan Brotherhood would naturally want eliminated. But the bigger issue, Stein claimed, was that Kelly's high-powered legal team was getting ready to expose damaging information that could implicate senior BOP officials and even higher-level DOJ figures. In other words, Kelly was being portrayed as a serious threat to the Bureau of Prisons itself.
R. Kelly's team is saying that all this is happening because they've been investigating whether R. Kelly's rights were violated throughout the process of his trials, and that they're alleging they recovered some information that they were, and that this information was going to come out. So this is a response allegedly.
Stein claimed that this so-called exposure involved serious misconduct during Kelly's investigations, including illegal wiretapping of attorney-client conversations and outright obstruction of justice. According to Kelly's legal team, the intercepted communications were even shared with prosecutors, who allegedly used them to pressure witnesses, including his former girlfriend Osriel Clary, into testifying against him, ultimately helping secure his convictions.
These two witnesses, according to these documents, and according to R. Kelly's legal team, were flipped on R. Kelly based on this in-house informant. This in-house informant by the government allegedly went to Asriel Clary, went to LaShonda, showed Asriel Clary some communications that R. Kelly, emails, phone calls with another woman outside of Asriel, because y'all know she was dating R. Kelly. Yeah. And they allege that because of the communications that were shown, he then influenced her to be the government's key witness.
It's just him. It's a few people that when they got these long cases, suddenly they all got plots to murder them and they all want to get out.
Stein, who openly admits to having a violent past, originally agreed to the plan. His transfer happened fast within 2 weeks. On October 17, 2023, he was moved from Arizona to FCI Butner and placed in the medical unit until March 2025, when he was transferred to R. Kelly's housing unit. The moment he arrived, a staff member reminded him of his mission: handle what you came here for. For weeks, Stein trailed Kelly, watching him, studying his routine, and planning the attack. Being housed on the same block gave him full access to Kelly's movements, vulnerabilities, and the perfect opportunities to strike. But over time, something unexpected began to shift in him. As a dying man reflecting on decades of violence, Stein said he had a change of heart. Killing Kelly to cover up wrongdoing by BOP officers and government officials, he realized, was a line he couldn't cross, so instead of carrying out the hit on April 11, 2025, he flipped the script completely. Stein went straight to Kelly and told him everything: that he had been sent to kill him, who ordered it, and how the plan was supposed to go down. For Kelly, learning that the man shadowing him for weeks had been waiting for the moment to end his life had to be terrifying. But Stein's decision created a new problem for the alleged conspirators. Now two people knew the truth: the intended target and the hitman who refused the job. Stein said time was critical and offered to take a polygraph, testify in court, and name witnesses who could confirm his long history of BOP-directed violence.
Says he will take a lie detector test, and he will testify if he has to.
Stein framed his refusal as an act of redemption, choosing to expose years of alleged BOP corruption instead of committing another murder. But his defiance didn't come without pressure. Lieutenant Teague allegedly contacted him multiple times, trying to push him to finish the job, but Stein refused to bend. That resistance only escalated the danger for both him and Kelly. Things took an even darker turn on June 6, 2025, when Kelly's legal team learned that a second Aryan Brotherhood member at FCI Butner had also been approached to carry out the killings. This time, the recruit was David Keith Harris, another AB affiliate who was expected to follow orders without hesitation. According to Harris's statement, Teague outlined specific methods for the murders, including poisoning Kelly's and Stein's food in the chow hall or through commissary items. Poison, Teague allegedly said, was the clean option because it could easily be mistaken for natural health issues, like Kelly's known blood clot condition, or written off as an accidental overdose. Targeting commissary items made the threat nearly unavoidable, since avoiding chow hall meals wouldn't be enough. Like Stein, Harris refused to participate and reached out to Kelly's lawyers to report the solicitation. Once news reports and posts from Kelly's supporters surfaced, the details spread quickly, naming Harris and highlighting the danger of poisoning. The move to target Stein as well suggested the plot had shifted into full cleanup mode, eliminating both the intended victim and the witness who could expose everything. The timing couldn't have been more significant. Just days later, on June 10, 2025, Kelly's attorney, Bob B. Brinley, filed an emergency motion in federal court in Chicago seeking Kelly's immediate release to home detention. The motion included sworn statements from both Stein and Harris, who offered to testify and take polygraph tests to verify their claims. It accused three high-ranking BOP officials, including a warden, an assistant warden, and another senior officer, of engineering the assassination plot. Their names weren't released publicly, likely due to ongoing litigation and privacy concerns. The motion argued that keeping Kelly in custody amounted to cruel and unusual punishment under the Eighth Amendment, given the alleged imminent threat to his life. BOP records confirmed Stein's transfer from Arizona to North Carolina, supporting part of his story, though officials declined to comment, citing security and privacy rules. Meanwhile, prosecutors from the U.S. Attorney's Office in Chicago forcefully rejected the allegations, calling the entire plot a stunning but baseless fabrication and describing Stein, given his criminal history, as an unreliable narrator. They labeled the claims fanciful, fantastic, and a deeply unserious conspiracy theory aimed at manipulating the court.
I don't believe that these charges are true. I mean, I don't believe these women are being truthful. I don't.
But the wildest twist was still ahead. Just 2 days after the emergency motion was filed and made public, the alleged conspiracy took a darker and more shocking turn, as R. Kelly suddenly found himself fighting for his life in a way no one could have seen coming. The poisoning scare and the alleged cover-up the morning of June 13, 2025 began like any other for Kelly inside his solitary cell at FCI Butner. He had been placed in the hole 3 days earlier officially for his protection, though his legal team insisted it was retaliation for exposing the alleged murder plot. What happened next would either confirm the most explosive accusations ever made against the U.S. Bureau of Prisons, or mark one of the most extreme legal maneuvers ever attempted by a desperate inmate. According to court filings, the events that followed played out like a medical thriller. Kelly woke up lightheaded, dizzy, and seeing black spots. When he tried to stand, he collapsed, managing only to crawl toward his cell door before losing consciousness. With his condition rapidly deteriorating and no way to treat him on site, prison medical staff ordered an emergency ambulance transport to Duke University Hospital in Durham, North Carolina.
They say that R. Kelly woke up allegedly on June 13th and he felt faint. He was dizzy. He started to see black spots. He got up and he fell. He crawled to the door of the cell and he lost consciousness then. At that point, he was placed on a gurney.
According to Kelly's legal team, this wasn't a medical emergency, it was an alleged assassination attempt. They claimed prison staff deliberately gave Kelly an excessive dose of his anxiety and sleep medications, causing his collapse and near-fatal reaction. The timing, just days after the murder plot allegations became public, seemed far from coincidental. Attorney Bo Brinley stated that while Kelly was in solitary, he was given his usual anxiety and sleep meds, but staff also handed him an additional dose. By the next morning, he experienced the terrifying symptoms that would land him in the hospital, fighting for his life.
He was taken by ambulance to a nearby hospital because they tried to take him to the hospital inside of or associated with the facility that he's in, but they couldn't help.
At Duke University Hospital, Kelly's condition grew even more critical. Tests reportedly showed life-threatening levels of blood pressure and anxiety medications, along with blood clots in both his legs and lungs. His legal team claimed these clots developed because the BOP had taken him off his prescribed blood thinners despite his medical history. Blood clots of this type can be fatal if untreated, and doctors recommended a 7-day hospital stay along with surgery. But according to Kelly's attorneys, that advice was ignored. Instead, BOP officers allegedly entered his hospital room and removed him at gunpoint, returning him to solitary confinement against medical recommendations, a move his legal team described as part of a cover-up.
His team alleges that it was overheard someone in the ambulance from the hospital say this is going to open a whole new can of worms.
The alleged coldness of this decision was staggering. Pulmonary embolisms, blood clots in the lungs, are among the most dangerous medical emergencies a person can face, capable of causing sudden death without warning. Standard medical practice requires immediate treatment and extended monitoring. Attorney Bo Brinley argued that returning Kelly to solitary put his life in serious jeopardy, as untreated clots could be fatal. Kelly's legal team acted quickly. On June 16th to 17th, they updated their motion, explicitly describing the overdose as intentional and part of the ongoing murder plot. Brinley stated that Kelly had been given a potentially lethal dose of medication, linking it directly to the timing, just days after the initial allegations of the assassination plot surfaced.
Did ask the Bureau of Prisons about the allegations. They said they do not comment on pending litigation.
The allegations went far beyond routine medical malpractice. Kelly's legal team claimed the entire sequence was captured on prison surveillance cameras, which they argued would provide undeniable proof. According to them, footage would show Kelly arriving in solitary, presenting his prescribed medications to guards, and then receiving additional doses from staff. Hospital records, they said, would corroborate both the overdose and his premature removal against medical advice, a highly unusual move. Kelly's attorneys even appealed directly to then-President Donald Trump, requesting a presidential pardon. They argued that Trump was the only person who could act quickly enough to save Kelly's life, given the slow pace of the courts. This unprecedented plea underscored their belief that traditional legal channels were insufficient to protect their client from what they described as a systematic attempt on his life. The Bureau of Prisons declined to comment, citing pending litigation. Meanwhile, government prosecutors, led by Assistant U.S. Attorney Jason Julian, responded on June 16 by dismissing the claims as fanciful and deeply unserious. They argued that the motion mocked Kelly's victims, lacked legal basis, and warned that granting release could set a dangerous precedent for other convicted murderers and terrorists. The judiciary acted quickly. On June 20, U.S. District Judge Martha M. Paco denied the motion, ruling she lacked authority to grant furlough or home detention, even under extraordinary circumstances. She also noted a lack of credible evidence supporting Kelly's claims. The denial came without a hearing, signaling the court found the allegations insufficiently credible to justify further investigation. Still, the story extends beyond the court's decision. Whether true or fabricated, the allegations reveal troubling vulnerabilities in the U.S. prison system, particularly for high-profile inmates convicted of crimes against children. The fact that such detailed claims could be made with named officials, documented transfers, and sworn declarations from multiple inmates points either to a potential level of corruption unprecedented in recent memory or to a level of desperation and fabrication equally remarkable.